Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today as we have another episode of the Aggressively Average podcast with Waters Above Crypto coming on for the last time before this election. And this time, he brings some good news. Ladies and gentlemen, this was filmed just a couple days ago. And in here, we fulfill a prediction that you're witnessing happen in real time. And in addition, over the next couple months, you're going to be experiencing the 2024 bull market to where it's supposed to be. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited for every single one of us. And for those of you that haven't gotten your ducks in a row, these are the final moments before it's too late. If you haven't done so already, Waters Above has a free course that he made for the world that I would highly recommend you watch and subscribe to, as I'll have that link in the description below. And now I really hope you enjoy the rest of this episode.
So yeah, I mean, we've recently had a couple of positive things go down in the crypto market, specifically for Bitcoin. One of which is yesterday. It was not only a weekly close, it was a bi-weekly close, and it was one of the most important ones we've had in quite a while. So let me turn off all these indicators and everything and just leave you with the candles and keep it nice and clean and simple. And the close that came in last night, as you can see, this is one of the highest candle body closes we've had, going all the way back to March. So we all remember March kind of felt like a mini alt season within the cycle. And then lately, we've experienced over the past 6, 7 months about a 60 to 70% mid-cycle correction for most of the altcoins. Of course, not the top ones with larger market caps, but generally, even stuff that's in the top 20, top 50 has experienced quite a big correction. Bitcoin, even a 33% correction. And this is very typical for Bitcoin. We saw this quite a bit back in 2017. Just these repetitive 30 to 40% mid-cycle corrections over and over and over again on the way to the top. The thing that was different this time is we actually spent quite a bit back testing the prior double top from the prior cycle. And this is actually a very bullish thing because when we look back to the last cycle, this was the prior cycle peak and we just blasted through it and we didn't back test it at all. It was very unhealthy. And then we got into this failed rally on the second try up in Q4 2021. And then when we finally returned back to the prior supports, we had nothing beneath us between here and here. So this gap between 20 and 30K is wide, and that's not healthy. So what we've been doing lately is incredibly bullish. The fact that we've come and back tested over the past half a year these prior two peaks, and now with this recent close that came in last night, it's a setup for continuation. So that's something that I really like to see on the macro. And I think more new, like just some words of wisdom here for people that are new to TA or new to analyzing markets. It's better to zoom out. Like a lot of people, when they get into this, they are looking at like the 12-hour chart or 4-hour chart and they're drawing 100 different lines on their screen. And I would recommend like maybe spend the first 2 to 3 months doing this on larger time frames, get used to what the weekly looks like and study from there and go into assets that have been around for a while. Like you could look at Amazon, for instance. I think there's a lot of parallels between the Amazon chart going back to the 90s and Bitcoin today. So to not waste any time, I think what we just watched yesterday with that close was really solid. But today, the stock market's open, everything's open, Forex, precious metals, etc. We're getting some volatility that's to be expected, especially after a 10% green candle close. And now we're just reaching part of our upper range, and it's still resistance. We can't throw a party just yet. And I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. I'm just being a real one. Like we shouldn't be throwing any parties just yet until Bitcoin can cement a weekly close above 70K and ideally above 71K. So for now, we're looking pretty good. We're at the top of the range that we've been in since late February, but this was a pretty promising closure. What's really crucial, though, is this upcoming monthly close. And because this will come out and we probably won't reconnect until after, we can see right there that this monthly close is about 71,000. And when I pull up this chart, I will be putting on some drawings because it actually has some really solid data for us to look at. You can see this resistance line, the red line across the screen. It's a majority of these wicks to the upside. So there's clearly a sell wall and a lot of sell pressure at 71,500. So that's the only level anyone here needs to keep in mind, especially if you're an XRP investor, because you know more than anyone, and I've been saying this since the first time me and you connected, we need Bitcoin price discovery in order to see expansion in the XRP price. Until
Absolutely.
then, we're just going to range sideways and stay low. That's just the way XRP behaves. I made my last video on YouTube, pretty much breaking that down step by step. I think I did a pretty good job at simplifying it. So yeah, to wrap up this from a smaller time frame perspective for those that care about it, and then we'll move on. You can see I have this trend line right here. We had a lower high after this June high. We had another lower high here, so two rejections. And then we finally broke out of it. And then we back tested it just earlier this month. And after back testing it, we had this breakout last week. And this breakout that we've had now, of course, we're seeing some of a rejection here at this major resistance. But I really like to see the fact that we've been able to break this peak because now we have two drives higher. Two drives higher is putting you into what we could call a micro trend reversal. So we have our lows, we have higher lows after this higher high, and this would be your third higher high technically in the microstructure. Now, getting this back test here is just because of the Dow. It's just because we're just going down in the markets today. And I think we even had a banking failure on Saturday, didn't we? Like Lindsay Bank or some shit first.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So expect more of that, guys. Like we're gonna get a lot more of that. I don't think we'll go through the next 3, 4, 5 months without at least a couple more of these regional banks failing. And that's gonna bring volatility, especially if it's something that's happening on like a Friday or into a weekend. And we do know, I think it was also Friday, we had options ETFs for Bitcoin get approved by the SEC, I believe.
Yeah,
That was another big update. So, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. We're in a rapidly changing environment. And in this year versus 2020 and 2021, the rapid changes that we're getting in this environment of cryptocurrency and blockchain have a lot to do with the involvement with the legal system, with the regulatory clarity and that. And that's kind of like the worst thing to have happen. A lot of people, and I talked about this recently in regards to XRP, and we could shift over there if you'd like. But it's like all this 4 years for XRP has really done is sucked a lot of crypto people into giving power to the legal system. And that's kind of shitty because the whole point of this crypto thing initially was to like not be a part of that system, right? It was like the fuck you to the system. But now with the
well,
XRP case, it's like we're all waiting for what the lawyers think and attorneys and the court jesters and Gary Gensler. And it's a horrible thing to watch because there's been no sovereignty in the process.
yeah. Well, I think the frustrating part about this whole legal process for XRP investors is that I know for me specifically, the reason I got into XRP in the first place was that I believed it was working with the system already. I believe that they're in bed with the lizards. What
Yep.
can I say, Waters? And the frustrating part about that is that I made that bet with that concept in mind. I'm like, yeah, Bitcoin's cool. I appreciate it. It's a great technology. I love the idea behind it, yada yada. But I think that the lizards are going to win. The people that print all the money are going to win because they're hyper organized and control all the systems in the
Mm.
world currently. That's just me. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know if that's like a stupid thing to say, but I that's the bet I made. And then to have seen
It's called
that
being
they were
realistic.
realistic, exactly. And then to see them be the ones that get sued and go through a 4 year legal process was infuriating because I was like, oh, damn,
Hmm.
what the fuck is this? I thought you guys were with the system. And it turns out that I think that they really, really are. It's just whatever happened with this case was it was one of those things that people want to say conflicts of interest, want to
Sure.
say corruption. Dude, it was probably all part of it. Maybe we're so right that they needed a lot of us to just leave. um that doesn't really matter. It's all speculation, but It's just that's the mindset that went into XRP for me at least, and I think for a lot of other people, that's what really went into it. So
Yeah. And I
that's
think
what
that's all fair. Like, look at it, I guess, for the people right now that might be discouraged with XRP and they've been, because we've seen it ourselves for sure as we're in this posture. We're going to be seeing a lot of people being like, oh, I could have made so many more gains in this project over this project. But it's like, I would compare this to Amazon in a way where I think a lot of XRP investors, the ones that are savvy, are looking to invest in the technology, right?
yeah,
The
yeah.
technological, applications that have been brought to this world through Ripple, right? And that's fair. And that's kind of similar with Amazon, right? Like initially, if you would have bet on them in 99, you were like a genius for like a moment, but then you've looked like an idiot for a long time. And then eventually, if you just look back at those charts comparatively to where we were at the top of the dot-com bubble, I mean, now you're really a fucking genius, you know?
Mhm.
So like if I think one thing that could be safe is if people are to invest, just remove like the cult like mentality from it and the group think and just continue to stick to your investment thesis. Because if you are out there right now and you're investing in XRP because of the technologies that Ripple has brought forward, good. That's a way better way to invest than to just be looking around for the next frog coin, you know? And of course, there's an opportunity to make money in other ways. And that's where I would say, if you do know of ways to make money in this market outside of just hodling XRP, then go for it. But be careful, right? Like, I don't think XRP is in a position where it's going to zero, but I think a lot of these meme coins do have a lot of potential to go to zero. Do they have a lot of potential to go up? Sure. But that's just a market cap thing. Anything
Yeah,
with a low market cap has a large ROI opportunity. But
yeah.
it's going to be hard to sleep at night when you're
Holding
working with them.
memes.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
Absolutely.
think, one of the things that I've realized through my channel is, and you've probably noticed it as well, is a lot of division still with the Ripple and the Bitcoin people and the Hex people and the this and the that. And I
Mhm.
really just want people to get more. I want the division to stop. Like we're never gonna win
Professional,
this. We're never gonna win this game if we're divided.
professional. It's
Yeah.
professionalism, it's like we were there during the '08 idealism days, but now we're here, and I think the Bitcoin maxis have thoroughly cucked over to BlackRock. So it's like, come on, can we stop pretending like we're not all here to just send our bags to the moon and like
Exactly.
cop
Exactly.
beachfront villas in the front of the
Admitting
area.
that's tough. Like admitting that
Yeah,
is tough. I think a lot of people, if they were in a project that was making a substantial amount of money over the past decade, like Bitcoin, they wouldn't give a fuck about the technology or the partnerships or BlackRock or this, that, or the third. You only have to care about these things now.
yeah,
Like, don't
absolutely.
forget that. Like, if you were in Bitcoin, for instance, and I think I just made this comparison last night when I was doing my Red Pill podcast. I went through 20 different projects that I'm all personally invested in. And what I've realized is, especially on the ISO 222 compliant tokens, they're still kind of trading around the C19 lows.
Yeah, yeah.
They're still trading and some of them are lower. Like literally, there's some projects, I don't know, like IOTA, maybe H bar. These projects are trading lower than the worst crash that we've had like in our modern market, right?
It's silly,
Um,
right?
and that shows me that, well, you got to remember who are the people that are focused on those projects primarily. People that are mostly focused on XRP and Ripple, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not calling anyone wrong. You are right in a way, but the bet you made, and I'm even in these projects too, so I hope nobody's getting triggered by this. Like, but I know how to build a portfolio, you know? So with that being said, it's like I'm realizing that, oh, retail isn't in this stuff at all.
Hmm.
Retail isn't in this stuff at all. And it's funny because the Bitcoin people, which again, it is what it is, Bitcoin was $3,000 during the C19 crash. I mean, it was 4K. Now it's 67K.
Hmm.
So what are we talking about? And why are we getting so divided? And why are we arguing anymore? So yeah, there's this weird jealousy and envy. And then on the other side, there's like this hopium, and shame too. And I think all of those things are just emotions. Like you
Yeah,
don't need to be happy in this market either. It's fucking digital fairy dust. It's what you do with the money that makes you honorable, right? That's what you
Amen.
do. That's what you do with these gains. So I think
Mm.
that's what people like me and you hopefully are speaking to in the event of the incoming alt season. It's like, watch this. Once you're the one that's making all these gains on paper, I really hope that you have the investment strategy and the exit strategy to know when to get out of a greedy bubble. I really hope because you're going to feel like you're right for once, and that's the most dangerous time to feel right. Don't ever forget that I said that. When you're
I-
winning, it's dangerous to feel right because you'll
And
keep going and going and going to feel more and more right. And that's when, yeah, bad.
and you know what's so important, Waters, is that you started off your analysis with Bitcoin with we know that Bitcoin leads the way for XRP. XRP is the secondary chart in analyzing whether XRP is going to go up.
Hmm.
Right? We have the initial indicators we have to analyze first, and then people get mad. People get mad when they hear that. I'm like, to a certain degree, like as analysts and as forecasters and people that have our own thesis, we just have to tune it out or use it to our own advantage, and that's all we can do. And I appreciate you talking about what you think Bitcoin could do next, what we're waiting for, and also with XRP, like on its own, what does it look like to you? One thing I wanted to talk about as well as you bring up the XRP chart is, X Ripple went through this SEC lawsuit, and immediately upon the lawsuit coming out, it went down in value 75%. A lot of people sold. They were like, I'm leaving. And, some people left, and that ended up being a good decision because they made some money somewhere else, right? Like, hey, more kudos to you. Congratulations.
Hmm.
But I have a cautionary tale to share. My mother, she was back in the day in 2008-ish,
Mm.
like she was going through a lot of different things. She was a financial advisor during right a month before the 2008 financial crisis.
Mm. Okay.
That's when she started doing that. And she was also an Apple, like she was balls deep in Apple, bro. She had a lot of Apple stock.
All right.
But what happened? I don't know if it was exactly in '08, but it was around that time. Cisco had a massive lawsuit coming out against Apple.
Hmm.
And that combined with the '08 financial crisis spooked her out of her Apple stock. She was like, oh, this thing isn't going to survive.
Hmm.
And she was hearing all the analysis from all the people she thought was smarter than her. And she sold all her Apple stock because of
Wow.
the lawsuit combined with the crisis at the time. And had she kept all the stock that she had, that would be worth around like $20 million today.
Mm. Mamma
And
mia.
Mama Mia. And the reason I bring up that tale is to share that usually just investing and holding that shit, letting it sit is better than thinking you're a genius and
Hmm.
reacting to some legal case, some FUD news,
Hmm.
some drama. It's headlines. If you know, if you've done the research and know and are confident in your analysis, stay with the investment,
Hmm.
ride it to the moon or to zero. Ride it, but be confident in your own decision because I think it was Jim Rogers. I had him in my outro of my videos, and he's like, invest in what you know because you have a competitive advantage against other investors,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah,
she,
that's powerful.
and she knew back in the day. My mom's a boomer, but she's like a millennial boomer. She's smarter than these fucking boomers that aren't tech savvy. And she was like, the moment a company comes out with a phone that could do the music shit, it's over.
Hmm.
And that was Apple.
It's facts.
And she knew it and she still did that.
Yeah.
And that's just a cautionary tale for people that are dissuaded. We are right. We just haven't experienced the validation. We haven't experienced the validation. And that's all I'm going to say. Now,
Yeah, I
The
mean,
XRP chart.
yeah, we're gonna get to
Yeah.
the XRP chart, but I do want to say one more thing built off of that because I feel like it's super powerful, and it's just like I think there's a couple things that we've experienced as specifically crypto investors that have like desensitized us, and it's also made us awful. And one of the things is the idea of a 4-year cycle or the idea of an alt season, right? What it does is it makes you have this like fancy kind of like play by play, like you're a Super Bowl head coach, like you know exactly what to do, what audible to call. And it's like you don't. None of you do. This is a fucking market of chaos. So like we could get hit with anything at any moment. Remember with FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, Terra Luna? These are like crazy moments of chaos. Like you could be at the Super Bowl and then get hit with a hurricane. And then your whole game and everything you prepared for and every game that led to that is irrelevant. Mother Nature makes the rules. Well, this is a market of millions of people, right? Millions
With
of
no guardrails, with no guardrails.
and
Remember,
leverage and
and
options
leverage.
and
That's a
ex
great combination.
you see, yeah, like there's so many things that make the chaos more and more chaotic. It's like we're in the upside down in Stranger Things. So I want people to just realize, like, of course, I'm a professional trader. I'm somebody who's doing what I can to time the market with esoteric investing. But beyond that, it's it's very different for me perhaps than somebody who's like working with super small amounts of capital or they have no skills. Like I have the skill of how to read the charts. I have the skill of how to build portfolios. I have the skill of how to manage other people's money if I needed to. I have that confidence, but not everyone does and not everyone should. And that's where like knowing your circle of competence is super powerful. It's probably what Jim Rogers was saying, and any great investor. They're going to say, like, once you know something about something and it kind of resonates with you on a level that you're willing to risk on, then do that. But then don't get like cold feet or whatever they say. Don't get persuaded out of it because of something that happens that's chaos, because it's usually the chaos where the most money's made. So it's not necessarily just for XRP, it's for crypto investing in general. Like if you're getting into this gambling casino, please be aware that it's a gambling casino. And there's a lot of chaos in this market, and anything could happen at any moment. Just like over here when we had the SEC versus Ripple case start, nobody expected that shit. And then it happened. What are you going to do? Nobody expected on this day over here for the price to only get to 90 something cents. Everyone thought we were going to the moon that day. I mean, we're lower today than we were back then, and the case is technically over. You feel me? This is all chaos. And it's making people get too caught up in the minutia and they're getting too stuck in the quicksand. And it's time to like get your eyes above the water, see clearly. Or otherwise you'll be that person that sells Apple, 10 years too early or whatever. So yeah, man, I mean, you made some amazing points. And I just want to remind people like in the game of stock investing, people used to look at this as like a replacement for retirement. But in crypto, we're like looking at it like I need to get in and I need to sell in 6 months and then I need to get back in 6 months. It's like you're getting so fancy. And I don't think that that's always the way to attack it because you probably aren't good enough at investing yet to attack it that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
absolutely does. I know for a fact I can't do that shit. I'm attempting to get better at that right now.
Yeah.
But bro, it's like people that have been doing this for 20 years are just gaining the skills to be able to do this. And you know what's crazy is and this is a side tangent before we get into XRP. What's genuinely insane is that crypto people are so spoiled because during the last bull market, XRP went up to $20, or excuse me, to $2. And it was at a low in 2020, in March 2020 of 11 cents. And I experienced all of those moments in between. And I don't know about you, bro, but a 20x from the bottom to the peak in a year is fantastic. But that's not good enough
Yeah.
for
It's never
people.
good enough in crypto.
And I just want to caution people that just because you've seen 1,000x in one crypto here and heard about 100x in from someone else over there, sometimes taking the double digit x's is good enough. Like, what are we really doing here? Like in the stock market, if you make 10x over 50 years, that's like wow.
Yeah. I
It's
did
like,
this.
come
I
on,
did
what
this
are we
yesterday with the
doing?
Nasdaq. Like I showed people how like you would have had to have bought the exact bottom of the 2020 two lows on the Nasdaq to even be up 95% right now.
But that's what I mean. It's like, what are we doing?
I don't know what has Bitcoin done since that time, just for fun.
Well, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like same time, and we're talking about Bitcoin, like the slowest tortoise, the 300%.
yeah. But what
Pretty
can you do?
crazy, right, dude? Pretty crazy. Like I'm not anti Nasdaq or any of that. I'm just saying, like, but then also we still have altcoins that are still as low as here, whilst
Yeah.
Bitcoin is up
And
1070% since then.
and
So
those alts are the major opportunity, I think, in the market. But that's a conversation for another day, Water.
they
So
are. They are. Yeah. All right, man. Well, we have the XRP chart here. A couple things to mention with regards to XRP. Obviously, since the last time me and you got together, it has not done much. So it's been snaking around this 45-ish cent to 65 cent horizontal trading range. It's
yes,
been pretty much sideways since. So I can't lie to anyone and like make up a story. It's as a technical analyst and professional trader, I have to give you information based on new insights and new data. And we have the exoteric stuff in regards to what's gone on recently with the appeal. I warned everyone about that, by the way. People called that clickbait, but that video that I put out the day after the alleged end of the case, I basically told everyone like an appeal is very likely and it is likely to be bearish for the XRP price. And this is the issue here, is that it will be more bearish than any positive news could possibly be bullish. This is the fuckery that goes on with this coin, and this is why you need Bitcoin price discovery, and then all of that noise becomes irrelevant. If Bitcoin was to jump up to 100K, everybody and their mother can shoot arrows at everybody in Ripple, and XRP will still go up in price. I promise you, just like it did over here, where we had the start of the case and then we went up 1,000%, right? We all watched that happen. So I can't make up anything new. And I know this sounds a little aggressive right now. Not aggressively average though.
love you so much, bro.
But this is pretty much coiling up to a massive triangle pattern, like something that I haven't really seen too often in many examples. And I like to see this. And one thing is this dotted line. So I'm just giving you not hopium right now, but I'm letting you know that we've been surfing this support trend line, this rising support going back to the C19 crash. So we have the C19 crash, we have this flare airdrop uh, nonsense. And then we had the SEC versus Ripple case. We had alt season come back to this line. And even though we did dip below it in early July, we've been bought right back above it and we've been pretty much riding this line. So if I could give any wisdom, it's this is still in accumulation. This is not something to be selling. Like as a professional technical analyst, this is not something to sell. This is like you're buying it in its lows. Okay, and it's rising and it's like if I could show you this because I think this is very helpful. Look at this. A lot of people would benefit from turning off candles. Like if you're brand new to TA or looking at charts, candles kind of fuck up your optics. They give you a lot of illusions. When you go to area, you get clarity. Okay. We have continual higher lows, and it's been going on for years now, from going back to March 2020. That's a very good sign that whenever we see sell pressure, whenever we get any sell pressure, we get bought back up. And that means we're not breaking structure on a macro perspective. And I love to see that. So even though we're in the midst of this case, and even though we haven't seen much expansion in the XRP price, we are seeing a technical positive, which I really like to see. Now, the other thing is something that I believe I've talked with you on our last podcast. Let me just quickly bring it up for the XRP chart. And it's this phase five in this custom chart that I designed. I know a lot of people really love this because it gives you a simple visual of what's happening. And we're in this final phase that we were in back over here. It is taking a little bit longer than usual, but again, this entire cycle has taken longer than usual because look at the time between 1 and 3 and the 1 and 3 here. It's just kind of imagine it's an accordion. Here it was more compressed because we were at a much lower market cap. We had much less memery and like no shit coins. We had scam projects, but still they were kind of doing something, right? Back in the 2014, 2015 days, they were at least trying to be a part of the conversation. While today, Projects are being made for absolutely no purpose, just for the cultural moment of a meme, right? Like we have Hawk Tuah coin. I don't know what the fuck we're doing now. So the accordion, if you want to visualize it that way, is just getting stretched. And that's why the time horizon between each phase almost looks identical if you were to account for the growth in market cap, and not just for XRP, but for the entire altcoin market cap, excluding Ethereum and of course Bitcoin. So this is really nice to see, the fact that we're repeating a large pattern. And the longer a pattern develops, that means the more explosive the move is. So I'm actually anticipating something like this. And that's not to give people hopium, and that's not a prediction. It's just, with the amount of time this project has been fucking sideways, come on now. It has to move. I mean, and that would be regardless of any knowledge on XRP at all. This would be just me looking at it with a neutral set of eyes as a chart analyst. If something is to coil up this much over time, and we know it has these very volatile spikes like this, then we're moments away from a spike like that. It just takes Bitcoin, of course, to get the fire started.
Hmm. This is interesting. This is interesting because this is one of my favorite charts that you showed me. It says here, you say we are here in regards to the step 5.
Yes.
Are we still there? Or are we, you said we're still coiling up a little bit, we're stretching out the accordion. Are we still kind of close? I know we've been looking at this Q4 time frame for just a crypto impulse at some higher levels.
Yeah,
Are we?
so let me show you. Let me show you. We have April 16th, 20, or let's go to a couple weeks before. Let's just say April of 2017. All right, for fun. Because we can match up the timing. Go to daily. Let's turn these candles on. So we're looking at April 2017, everybody. And we're here. April 2017. Look to the left. What do you see? Bitcoin is just starting to break out of all-time highs. Yeah. Over here, we were basically at the same time, we were just coming back up to this phase 3. So we are definitely lagging this time around, but we can see the relationship between Bitcoin going into, about to enter price discovery, because this is what really matters. Look at this. It was when we finally broke out of all-time highs. We haven't done that. You know, Bitcoin did make a momentary all-time high back in March, but then it's been sideways and down for 7 months. That's not price discovery. That's just a quick move to the upside. And if you accounted for inflation, well, then you have a different conversation, right? So the point here is that if you look at this expansion moment in May and into June, that's the same exact time that you're seeing this explosive move for XRP.
Hmm.
It's perfectly timed. So all we have to do is see that move for Bitcoin, and then I believe we'll see this bump out of the pocket, and it would be 74 cents is your key level. So we've been having a really tough time with that, as you can see, because going back to the July moment, July last year, it's been 500 days trapped sideways.
Now, just to review for people at home,
Look, but
74.
just real quick,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah,
This was 476 days. Just to let you know.
yeah.
Just to let you know, like the people that think this is taking longer or some shit, like this, technically, this phase 5 moment of when we stopped out at resistance and then we're continually getting rejected before we exploded. Okay. If we take from that exact day over to the day we broke out, it was 486 days. So don't get discouraged, man. I mean, look at where we're at now, bro. We're at 470,
Oh,
technically.
so 2 days. Water says bull run in 2 days.
No, I'm
No.
saying I'm saying that
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
November, it's likely that Bitcoin goes into price discovery, and then we have to talk about the election. I think we were talking about Donald Trump serving French fries or something.
Bro, I think we were.
I
I
think that's
think
what we're going to talk about for the rest of the podcast.
that image, there's a picture of him like with his thumbs up outside of the McDonald's. That's gonna be a lot of XRP community members' last day at work. Like once this thing actually takes off, that's what
That was my face reveal. You guys didn't even.
it I knew you were barren, Waters. I knew you were barren.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it, bro. I know you're really deep in the numerology, the dates, these elections. This election is on November 5th, and
Yeah.
all I could think about was V for Vendetta.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Remember the 5th of November.
I haven't watched that movie in a minute, but yeah, one thing that I just decoded yesterday during my newest podcast was this quote from or this tweet from Elon, who he said voting for Trump is voting for Mars. Did you see that?
No, I think that's interesting.
Yeah, like I don't know how to navigate Zoom too well. I'm trying to like see how I could share my other screen. One second, let me see if I could get to this. If you can see a date calculator now.
No. Oh, yep. Yep.
All right, so we have 5th of November over here. That's the upcoming selection date. And we have a 15 date numerology. So this might be completely brand new to a lot of people. That's fine. Welcome to my world. And this 15 number is really tied to Elon quite a bit. I've been doing decodes for the past 2 to 3 years about this man and his obsession with Mars. And this 15 is the gematria of the word Mars. I can't be switching between all of these different screens right now, but just trust me, if you were to take this gematria calculator and type in Mars, it would give you the number 15. And this is not only a 15 standard date numerology on the day of the election, but it's also on a Tuesday. And anyone out there, if you know Spanish or Latin, Tuesday is Martes. That is Mars Day, the day of Mars. So you have on the fucking election date, you have Mars Day with the Mars connection in Gematria, literally to this quote that Elon's saying. And Elon is like Daddy Mars, right? Like everything about his whole transhumanist agenda and shit he wants to do comes back to colonizing Mars, even though that's not possible. But anyways, I find that to be really fascinating how obsessed Elon has been about Trump lately. And there's definitely something to that on the world stage, because remember the last bull run, he was like shilling Dogecoin and Shiba like pretty much at the top in
Waters, do you mind if I interrupt you for just a second?
yeah, of
Because
course.
yesterday I actually came across a video from Good Morning Crypto where Elon was asked directly by someone who was a Trump supporter about XRP, and he dodged the specific reference to XRP. And I just find that to be such horseshit with
Yeah, I
this
watched that.
going on SNL, shilling, talking about Doge at the exact peak, knowing what he's doing because he knows what he's doing. He could talk about Doge and Bitcoin, but XRP, in regards to that, you're shy. You don't want to reference any specific crypto. But I know for a fact you know about it. You don't sound like you don't know about XRP. I just find that I found it fascinating. I
Yeah.
found it super fascinating.
Yeah, he has a lot of NDAs he signed.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But I said before I couldn't show you, but do you see on my screen right now this gematria
Yeah,
calculator where it says Mars and it has the 15 right there?
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So that's my point. And also it's even more powerful because when you have a mirror number, 15, the mirror is 51. So you have that in Mars too. Um, I mean, I could go so much deeper, but there's no need to. The point is that I just find it to be so perfectly ritualized because who is Mars? Mars is the god of war. And well, what are
Mm-hmm.
we in right now? We're in this war. It's all symbolism. It's symbolic. Okay. It's not like we're literally voting for Mars, right? It's always coded double speak spellcraft. So Elon is, first of all, this man isn't a genius. He's being used by the New World Order. He has many handlers. And hence, when he's asked questions on the fly, you see that nervousness all the time. This isn't new. He's only able to answer the questions with this really sophisticated delivery when it's scripted, when he knows what he's going to be answering that day. And every other time he gets really uncomfortable when he has to answer to things that he knows, he doesn't actually really know anything about. He doesn't know anything about XRP. So no shit, he's not able to answer the question. You guys think he knows about XRP? That's kind of sad because he doesn't. Trust me.
You don't think so?
No, he knows exactly what he needs to know based on the script that he needs to fulfill. Okay, when you read a script as an actor, do you think Matthew McConaughey is worried about the lines that the other actors have to act out? No,
No.
he has to
No.
focus on his own. And Ripple is part of the world script, maybe in
Mhm.
a good way. I don't know. I don't think anyone actually knows.
I can accept that answer. That makes a lot of sense to me.
I'm also not trying to take away from the XRP community, but can I quickly say if anyone just got triggered by what I just said, if anyone just got triggered by what I just said, that means you were probably somebody that got excited yesterday about him saying the words XRP. Like, how much of a cuck for XRP are you to the point where that was the most exciting XRP news we've had in weeks? Was watching Elon say XRP. Like, how sad are you as a human
Bro,
being on
I'll
this
I'll
earth?
I'll tell you what, bro. I'm pretty fucking sad because I was like, Elon said XRV, holy shit.
He said it
but,
like he
but,
said it, and I
but,
knew that was going to be a thing. I knew it. I immediately thought to myself, I'm like,
but it was,
oh, here
bro,
we
it's just
go.
cool. It's cool. It's a step forward. It's like
Is it cool?
we're one step away from Elon being like, oh, this XRP logo, oh my X logo, oh my God, retail bullishness. Let's shill XRP. Oh, they beat the SEC. Oh yeah, I beat the SEC too. Let me dream, Waters. Let me dream, please. That's
Yeah.
all I have left. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But it was just cool to
I
see.
think that's where
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
yeah, that's where I'm at with my world, because you even came to me a couple weeks ago or something. You asked me about these riddlers, right? And it's like,
yeah,
bro, in
bro.
my world, I have people coming to me every fucking day being like, Waters, XRP was in this movie. And I'm like, no, it ain't, bro. You're just trying to make things connect because you're in the hope state. Like you're in the right? You're deep in the depths of the shadows and like you need something. You need something to keep going. And I think that that's all this moment was. It was another moment for the XRP army to be like, look, you know, but like Elon doesn't know anything about XRP. That's why he can't talk about it. He has no idea. He has
Yeah.
0.00000% of awareness of what XRP, like you guys who are listening to this podcast, you probably know a ton about XRP, right? Because you spend every waking moment of your life researching this shit. This guy doesn't. I mean, he runs like how many companies? Bro, I run technically, I guess, two companies. I don't have time to research cryptos, and I'm a fucking crypto analyst. Like
Yeah.
you think Elon has like 13 children. Just put the pieces together, guys. If you think that he knows about XRP, I'm sorry. He barely knows what he's going to eat for dinner. He's so fucking busy. There's zero time. He would need to have some other person whisper in his ear quickly what it even is for him to probably forget it 20 seconds later. He doesn't have time. But as for the election, just really
Mhm.
quickly, what did we talk about the last time we got together regarding the elections? We threw around some theories, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your theory?
I think that this election is going to be a just a catalyst for a lot of volatility and change. I think that's the only thing that we could be assured. I don't really spend much time trying to speculate what series of events could happen. I
Sure.
just more or less look at the stage, how it's painted right now. Try. I mean, you posted the China getting ready for war thing earlier. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised to see China step into the global USA tensions ring with
Yep.
Russia and the Middle East. So
Yeah, they're
that's
gonna invade Taiwan probably by the end of the month, or
I
like
mean, I
within the year for sure.
I would not be surprised. It's been one of my bigger predictions for the year. I'm like, China is ready. They've declared it to their people that that is a part of China and they're taking it. And I believe when they say something, they're gonna likely try and do it. And
Hmm.
that will be a nail in the coffin on the world stage.
Yeah,
Uh,
China
to,
doesn't fuck around. They're not like Korea where they're just like tweeting, what they're gonna do to the world.
yeah. But that coupled with, I think no matter who is elected, half the population in America won't accept it, and that's going to be fascinating.
Hmm.
Whether people get arrested or revolt, or there's, you know, like a combination of BLM/January 6th,
Hmm.
like for
Hmm.
months type
Hmm.
thing. I wouldn't be surprised too. People could fight it out. I'm gonna be in my home, relaxing, doing research, and chilling. To the overlords, I am calm. I have things to do.
Yeah,
I have things to do.
smart.
Smart. But no, that's it's just expect volatility, expect tensions, and just be level-headed and use seize the moment, use the opportunity to advance in the chaos. Because I can tell you all what, COVID, that time was a very progressive time in my life for my business success and my investing success. I'll tell you, everyone was scared of air,
Yeah, that's
seemingly
true.
because half of America has trouble breathing. The savages that don't have trouble breathing were able to make money, and that's all I'm saying. Just be a savage for like a 6 to 12 month period of your life. You don't even need to be a savage for that long, you know.
Yeah, there's something to that, right? Like committing to yourself. I don't know if I would use the term be a savage, but I know what you mean. But like I
Yeah,
just think we could summarize it like neutrally to like commit to yourself. Right now, like I've realized with so many of these crypto things, these divided crypto communities, like BSV right now is really fascinating. These individuals,
Satoshi Vision.
yeah, yeah, yeah. These individuals that are kind of caught up in that, like they're gonna miss out on this whole bull run. They're gonna miss out on so many things because they're not committed to themselves. They're
Mm,
committed to being right.
mm,
This is a very toxic person. Like when, and maybe you'll disagree with me, bro, but like, what made me the most successful version of myself? When I
mm.
stopped committing to being right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
When I realized there's a lot of right answers.
A lot of right answers, bro.
Bro, there's
That's
so many right answers. Like when it comes to
being.
business and when it comes to being a better partner,
Yeah.
when it comes to being a better husband, when it comes to being a better leader, there's no such thing as there's no room, there's no calories to burn for committing to being right.
Yeah.
That shit will put you into like the worst frame of mind and it will make you do evil shit and it'll make you think in evil ways. Like this is
Yeah.
the formation of cults is when people get sucked into the vacuum of an idea and they can't escape it. I think Jordan Peterson said this, and I don't know if he got it from Carl Jung, but I really, really resonated with it. And he said, you need to let your ideas die so that you can live forever.
Mm.
And I was like, yo, that's such a clear pill. Like nobody's ready to swallow that. But I finally awakened to what he was saying, like maybe a couple months after I listened to it, because I checked back in with myself and my ego. And I realized like, oh, what made me successful was I stopped trying to commit to being right all the time and I started committing to myself. And yourself is chaos, right?
That's a
You have
beautiful thing.
you have moods that change all the time. You have family things going on. You have this, that, and the third. Like you have weather. Like, bro, your feelings change just with the seasons, right? When there's darker days in the winter or lighter days in the summer. Your feelings change on a quick vacation or if whatever
Dude,
happens.
dude, I moved to Florida and I
Hmm.
was like, my mood changed about Florida real quick looking at what happened to Tampa. I was like,
Damn,
I
yeah,
went back up to New York City knowing all the COVID lockdowns that happened and all, and I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad.
yeah,
It's not bad.
yeah.
But it's like all kidding aside, it's
Hmm.
like that's something that's a metamorphosis I had to go through too. It's like like as an analyst in crypto, you have to be willing to be wrong like half the time about a lot
Yeah.
about
You,
projects, about people in projects you had faith in but you were wrong about, and
hmm
you have to give yourself grace because you as much research as you do, as much as you think you know, you really don't know.
hmm
You really
That's
don't.
true.
And
And
that's
there's
what
no point to know. Like there's something different about intuition and about data.
and
Data is
there's
good and all, but like a lot of us in the age of information, coming back to the very first sentence you said today, it's like we are inundated with data. We're inundated with information. And what it does is it strips you of your intuitive force, and that makes it so you have no access to the gut. And the gut is what should be making the choices here, or your heart should be making the choices, not your mind, right? But you can't get there without the gut. And that intuitive force, I feel the human spirit doesn't have access to much anymore. And it's the more we invite AI into our lives and et cetera. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But like again, it's let's get back on the rails here. Right now, because of this selection, we have people who are committed not to themselves, they're committed to politicians.
Yes.
You know how sad it is for me to watch Elon Musk, a grown man who has 77 children, committing all of his prana to Donald Trump. That doesn't inspire me because I'm a leader now. I see the light. Why isn't this man making 4 hour videos talking about how like about a show? I don't know. Like, what is this guy really what you think he is? Or is he
Mhm.
just purely a puppet to get these agendas rolled out to you so you accept them? And then you're no longer in I should stop. But I'm just saying, like, I don't understand how somebody has all this time to be tweeting all day about Donald Trump. I don't even, nobody even has any awareness of like really what he does for his businesses or any of it. It's like from the moment that he's taken over X, I've seen it become even weirder realm of now.
It becomes their personality, and that's who they are now. Like either, bro, both sides, bro. There's anti-Trump, like people are just filled with hate their whole lives because of a symbol of something, of a
Right.
person that they've been fed through an algorithm that intentionally did that. It's like Donald Trump is not as good as some people think he is, and he's not as bad as some people think he is. I've seen, bro, I used to watch The Apprentice all the time. That show was dope. That was a great show. I would see his buildings in New York. He used to be the dude. He was over
Yeah.
here on Black Podcast before Black Podcasts were even a thing. That's who Donald Trump was, bro. He's not that racist. He's not that sexist. He's just a New York asshole.
Yeah, like that's facts. I'm from Brooklyn.
It
I'm
is,
from Brooklyn.
man.
Like he still is that dude. Like don't get me
He's still
wrong.
that.
Like
He's the same dude. It's
I
just
I
everyone
find him
thinks,
to be the most entertaining human being of all time. Truly. Like
dude,
he is
dude,
so fun to watch. But like that's the thing
dude.
is you need to be entertained by him because he's an
That's
entertainer.
it, because I've been getting entertained by Trump for like 10 years, so I know how to handle this
Yeah,
dickhead.
exactly. So like I could just wrap up all my thoughts. It's like be entertained by Elon, be entertained by Jerome Powell, be entertained by Annalisa Torres, be entertained by me, everybody, but be committed to yourself. I'll
Beautiful.
end it there.
What a beautiful way to cap off this pod, bro. I love you so much. So XRP to the moon in 2 days. Fuck Bitcoin. Um,
Uh,
you stay in your homes, hide your kids, hide
Go
your
work
wife,
at McDonald's.
work at
Uh
McDonald's,
yeah.
leave when
Um
XRP goes to
Sell your car, sell
$585.
everything you own right now and buy
Sell everything you
Bitcoin
own
to
right
buy
now.
Bitcoin Satoshi Vision.
Don't sell at the top and get your family a new home. Don't
No.
do that. No, ride it all the way to 589.
I'm becoming a BSV influencer. So this will be my last time ever talking about any of these things. Please don't invite me onto this podcast ever again. I'm going to shave my head and I will catch you guys next time.
Waters, it's always a pleasure. I have nothing to say.
All
It's
right,
always,
bro, but me and you, we need to get back together for real after this election because I have a couple things just really quickly to wrap this up. I have a couple things
yeah.
from a very serious vantage point, just things I want people to keep in mind because I know we started joking a little bit, but I've looked at so many election years now in the charts, and one that really stands out to me is the year of 1964.
Mm,
And remember, that was actually right after Kennedy got assassinated in 1963. And
mm,
we had a very weird environment then because we were watching the Vietnam War unfold, and then the US went to war the following year, 1965. Okay. Now, this is very serious, guys. I do believe that next year it will align with 1965. And one of the things we saw was when JFK, we only had like one red day in the markets, and the markets kept going up. And
right.
whatever happened politically during that time frame, the market just kept going up all the way until May of 1964. I could actually show you quickly on the charts what the hell I'm talking about, and it'll give you a little bit of a visual. But anyways, my point here is that there's another parallel besides 1965 that everyone could keep in mind as investors, and that's the year 2000. And that was with George Bush and Al Gore. You all probably remember how that went. We had a recount in Florida. And I think that's important symbolically because what's
Yeah,
Florida associated with? It's with Trump. And
yeah.
what's his place called? Mar-a-Lago, right? Mars. I already made the connection for you. We're going to war no matter what. All right. The USA goes into the war during the year of the snake. I think I talked about it on one of our earlier podcasts.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to have war in America. We could have some kind of civil unrest shit go down, like as you mentioned, but like nothing grand scale. Like it'll just be sort of like the George Floyd thing, like little pockets of weirdness going on. But we're looking at 1964 right now. You see this right here, this little moment. That was the Kennedy assassination. So this
Mm.
is like if a fucking president gets taken out, bro. We had like 2 days of red, and then we popped right back up to where we were, and we just kept on moving. So I don't think elections and politics and that and all of that matter too much. But for those people that are nervous about that, we do have this one year where we had the election happen, then we slid into December, but we just kept moving up. Now, if we were to repeat a 2000, which I don't necessarily think we will, but I do think we will have a weird election, and that's why I bring up 2000, because I don't know if we'll get instant results, and we could have recounts, and we could have like shit go on that doesn't give us results until perhaps even December. Okay, and that's what happened over here in this cycle. But the only difference was this was during a Shemitah year, which I talk about on my channel. I'm not going to get too much into today. It's a 7 year cycle. We already went through one. That was the reason for C19. And we also had the dot-com bubble. Now we are in a bubble. Can we admit that? We're in an everything bubble. But
Absolutely, yeah.
the Fed has a FOMC literally the day after the election. I remember in our last podcast, I kind of laughed about that because I found out about the November 6th FOMC when we were in the podcast. It was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
That we're likely to see, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're predicting that there will be a 25 basis point cut.
Um,
So
I'm not certain of that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
okay. So let's just say there could be another rate cut, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when we're studying 2007, 2008, 2000, and these rate cuts, just want to let you know that this is likely to kind of mimic, but it's that January 29th FOMC in 2025. That's when I think they're going to start to get like nervous. They're going to start making people feel nervous. Right now, it's about distracting people with elections, distracting people with all sorts of shit, right? And it's a lot different right now versus 2000 to 2007 because we all have social media. So I just wanted to let people know that whatever happens with the election, look at the way that Bitcoin and crypto acted in the year 2020 and in 2016, and you'll see that it really didn't make a huge difference who won. It didn't make a difference after who won. The direction of this is more driven by things like Larry Fink at BlackRock and Vanguard and etc. So just want to let everyone know that because a lot of people here, especially XRP people, I've noticed are very pro-Trump and they have this belief that if he wins, that all glory be to the green candle heavens. And guys, it's kind of just caked in no matter what. It's more about what the Fed's doing. It's more about that. It's more about what Janet Yellen would want to do. Um,
I agree with that sentiment for sure. I just think this is what I'll say.
mhm.
Because it is Fed and general market driven, and I feel like it is embedded into the charts. But it does feel like having a dude that's over here flipping NFTs and making DeFi exchanges or
Mhm.
that would probably like be more likely to send crypto. So to some people's defense, I don't blame them for thinking that Trump is more pro crypto because I think he is in general, anyways.
Sure, but I mean, we could see in 2020 how it went with getting Biden, and the market went up in a straight
Yeah,
fucking line.
yeah,
So,
absolutely,
and
yeah.
that had nothing to do with Biden, it had everything to do with the Fed. So, yeah, I mean, in general, I'm just letting people know,
That's a
like,
great
yes,
point.
I get it. I do really much get it, especially with Kamala talking about this like unrealized capital gains, but
Yeah.
nobody's gonna let that go. Like, nobody's gonna let that roll out, and it's not gonna fucking roll out immediately. That's for sure. So even if those things did come to fruition, I think there'll be a little bit of like the spirit of America, in my opinion, will be pretty shot if Trump loses. Like
Mm.
I think it more so. If we get immediate results with Kamala winning, that's I'm really worried for that. If we get immediate results with Trump, then that means I think an event's coming in March for sure, March of 2025. And they're going to put this man into a war whether he likes it or not, because the people who make that decision are not presidents. Please wake up to this, guys. I know you think that like Trump doesn't want to do this, that, and the third, but like he will do whatever his handlers tell him to do, just like he did when he became the president the first time. And all those promises and all the shit that he said never came to fruition, just like Obama, just like Bush, just like Bush's dad, just like Hoover, Carter, you name it.
Mhm.
Watch Noam Chomsky if you want to learn more about this. They're all war criminals. Like end of story. So yeah, I mean, I do think the spirit of America though would be very shot, and that would mean general investors will get a little bit like fuck it, you know. And I think it'll actually be pretty positive for things like gold and silver and people that are trying to like get out of the dollar. But until then, let's just watch how this goes down. We're like 2 weeks away. I'm still pretty much carrying the same outlook as I did in our last podcast, which is green skies ahead until February 2025. And I am incredibly bearish about March and April 2025, like very, very negative across the board. So, yeah, with that being said, we have a lot of time between now and then to watch this crypto market dance a little bit.
Waters, I can't thank you enough for always taking the time out. I genuinely appreciate you. There's a lot of controversial things you said that I think are very necessary. You're like a pendulum swing for people's opinions about just politics in general, um, tribalism in general. I love it. It's always, I always tell people if you're choosing between yin and yang, choose the S in the middle. And I think you help people become the S in the middle, right? It's all about balance, and especially the perspective of during election years, regardless of presidents, when we see a change in environment, during that change, we are more bullish, and the crypto market is very important because under Trump and under Biden, their first year, we saw bull markets.
Hmm.
So this is
Yeah.
very important for the sophisticated investor. If you're dissuaded, don't be. The SEC case at this point is massive distraction. It's boring. None of you really care. Most of you don't know about the law. That's why you follow lawyers on Twitter. And I get it. I'm past it already. I'm focused on profit taking alone. And all of you need to get in that mindset too. Stay informed, but get in that mindset. Also, it seems to me like war is unfortunately bullish for crypto and some general markets as well. I don't know if you have that same two Waters, but
Yeah,
that's the
I
fact.
do very much feel, especially with sanctions, and with just banks having problems. Like we said very early in the podcast, I'm a firm believer that we will continue to see more regional banks fail. I think we'll see a lot of instability in the banking system in general. I'm not as bearish on the top banks as some other analysts might be,
Mhm.
but that's maybe for another conversation. In
No,
general,
definitely.
I think they're just going to swallow everything up like they did in '08. And what will be the culprit of that, unfortunately, and this might hurt people's feelings out there who are general investors or people that are into business or an entrepreneur. I think Airbnb and Verbo and these business models, that's what's going to create the housing crisis this
Mm,
time. It's
interesting.
that. Yeah, because it's just a totally different world now versus '08. In '08, we didn't have that business model, but today we do. And I use those business models. So I've seen the temperature rise month after month after month. And we're at a place where it's like, if we want to talk about bubbles, look at the bubble there. When we had properties that were like in 2022 were like $100 a night, and now they're $700 a night, but there hasn't been any change to the house itself. There hasn't really been more bookings. There hasn't been like, yeah, anyways, that's another conversation. But the point is that that business model is very a big, it's going to impact this conversation. And I'm not hearing anyone talk about it. And then the next thing is these Tesla cyber taxis that will be brought out maybe next year into 2026. And you're going to see all those jobs go away, all those gig jobs like Uber Eats and Lyft and Uber drivers and Bolt and Wolt, and these services are going to be completely transformed by robotics, self-driving cars, etc. So I think we need to wisen up right now because we're going to watch that be the great wealth transfer. Will just be wealth. Well, it'll be those gig jobs taken away from the individual.
Fascinating. That's definitely another
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, let's get on that next time because I think people want to know
Yeah.
more about that. I think people need to get very serious about what their plans are for any immediate wealth entering their life. And I believe me and you both agree, like cash flow is king. Getting
Yeah.
to a world where you're able to generate income instead of working a job or instead of just being an investor sitting around, and definitely way better than being a day trader. So creating a business and making that, nurturing that, that's a big form of what I called committing to yourself. So let me just wrap it up with there. Like everything that I said today about Elon, Trump, this, that, and the third, it wasn't really about them as much as it's more about you committing to yourself, and be careful with the way you use that energy and attention. Redirect it back to you, and that goes for me too. If you're somebody who enjoys my videos, I would still rather prefer you commit more to yourself than commit to what my TA is. Okay. And that's not sexy for me to say. That doesn't help my business model, but I'm a real one. I want you to fucking grow. And this is a time right now where everyone's getting distracted and hypnotized by what's going on in the world stage. And I'm just the cold bucket of water on your head. Okay. Like it's time to truly wake up and to start committing to yourself.
Beautiful. Couldn't have said it better myself. Waters bless you. I hope to have you on soon. Definitely after the elections, after some dust is settled, and yeah, let's wake up some more minds, my friend. Bless
Mhm.
up. Thank you so much, dude.
Appreciate you, brother. Much love.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. Bye bye.